I woke up with a tremendous amount of pain, excruciating pain, and I was burning up with a high fever. I later found out it was 106 degrees, but I was just burning up. I was in so much pain all over my body that I couldn't even move to get the phone to call someone. And so I was slipping in and out of consciousness. And then I finally was able to reach for the phone at about 7:30 that morning. And I called a family member and I said, something's wrong. And she came and got me, and we went to the hospital. And it took them a while to diagnose. We eventually found out that I had a kidney stone that was lodged in my ureter, and my entire blood supply was infected, and I had gone into septic shock. Septic shock has, I believe it's a 35 or 40% mortality rate, so it's high. I could feel that I was dying throughout that morning. My NDE didn't happen until 1:20 that afternoon. It was at that moment that I completely disconnected from everything that was external and outside of me. The people that were around me, the medical staff, the machines that I was hooked up to at that point. I had no connection to it. I lost the knowing that it was even there. And I was still experiencing some of the pain, but not to the same degree as I had been. And I started doing internal scan of my body. It felt like I was watching a movie. I could see the blood pumping. I could see my cells. I could see my internal organs. And it felt very factual. I didn't really have any emotion attached to it. And then I had that awareness of, I'm dying. This is what it feels like. And at that moment, I popped out of my body. And the next thing I knew, I was on the ceiling looking down at myself and everyone around me. I was just looking as an observer, and it was, I was detached from it and I was a part of it all at the same time. And I was just looking at it almost like I was watching a movie, a very personal movie. And then I just slowly started floating backwards and up. And it was very gentle. It was almost like I was gliding backwards. And as I was floating up, I could no longer see the room that I was in. Now I was seeing what looked like the hospital, but I didn't see a roof and I didn't see walls. What I saw were these little balls of white buzzing energy. And they were all connected by this thin, clear string. And what that string looked exactly like is if you ever catch a spider web in the sunlight just right and you see the way it glistens. That's what I saw, and I knew what it was at the time, but it took me coming back into my body to be able to describe what that was. Those are souls. I was seeing souls, and they were all connected, and that was oneness. And I remember thinking, why are they all buzzing around so much? They seemed so busy to me, and it didn't make a lot of sense to me why there was so much running around. And then I just continued to float backwards more and more until I was in what I guess I would describe as space. And then that's when I immediately went into the tunnel. So the tunnel for me was like being on a roller coaster ride at an amusement park. It was black, it was dark, but it wasn't scary. It was very fast. And it really was like, you know, when you go on a roller coaster and you're having a great time, you would just put your hands up and scream because you're having so much fun. That's the same sensation or the feeling that I had. The tunnel ride for me was very quick. It was enough for me to register that it happened, but it was very quick for me. And then I immediately just almost like plopped out of the tunnel into the white light. the white light, well, coming out of a black tunnel into this white light, it, again, I needed to adjust a little bit to the brightness of it, because although it's peacefully bright, there's an intensity about it too. And once I got used to it, I started looking around a little bit, and I instantly felt, the first thing that I instantly felt was unconditional love. I had never in my entire life felt love like that. And even now I'm a mom, and that's, the love we have for our child, that's probably the closest you can get to true unconditional love. But that love doesn't even compare to the unconditional love that I felt in the light. And I just started soaking it in. If I had a body, probably my gesture would have just been, oh, and I started soaking it in. And the next thing I felt was peace like I've never felt before. And the next thing I felt after that was I started to get an awareness of, and I felt like I was becoming whole again, that maybe parts of me were missing. And this white light was healing me and making me whole and making me complete. And during that process, I started realizing that I wasn't separate from this white light, that I was the white light too. And we were just reuniting in a lot of ways. I would have. For some reason, that wasn't meant for me. As I was, experiencing this replenishment and this healing from the white light, I did start to notice what felt like a crowd starting to come toward me. I wasn't scared or intimidated, but I didn't have enough time to understand exactly what that was, because at that moment I heard that inaudible voice say to me, "You need to go back." And that's not what I wanted to hear. No, I don't want to go. Please don't make me go back. Because it was so beautiful there. And then I heard the voice again, and I get emotional about it even now. I heard the voice again. It said, "You need to go back." And it was loving, but it was a firm voice letting me know that this is not a negotiation. It was time to go back. And I persisted with the protesting. I said, "No, please don't make me go back." And right at that moment, I felt almost like I was nudged back into the tunnel. And I went backwards very fast into the tunnel, very quickly back into my body. And I entered my body through the top of my head, and it felt like I was being sucked back into my body. And I felt the pain returning, but it was very quick. It was just enough for me to know I'm back in this world. And then I don't remember anything for several hours after that. When I woke up in pre-op, this was on a weekend, and it was very late at night. I think it was at about 9 or 10 p.m. That part of the hospital was very empty.